Welcome to the Radical Success Podcast, where we focus on internal transformation to experience external results. I'm your host and coach, Doreen Rainey. Join me each week for insightful messages and powerful interviews to equip you to take bold, courageous, and radical action to live the life you want and deserve. Welcome, everyone, to the Radical Podcast. I am Doreen Rainey, your host and your coach, and I'm coming to you with a topic today that has really been highlighted for me over the last couple of weeks as I've had some interactions with some people and even in evaluating a few things about myself. And so I wanted to come to you today and share what I believe are some silent dream killers. Yes, there are some things that are killing our dreams that we may not be fully aware of. They're moving in stealth mode around us or inside of us. And until we begin to recognize them and manage them, they will continue to hold us back and keep us stuck. Now, before I get into today's content, I want to first of all give a big shout out and a big thank you to everyone who has become a part of the Radical Success Inner Circle. I started this platform for people to have access to consistent, continuous training, coaching, mentoring that will share with you concepts and strategies and give you the tools and the resources to consistently take action on making your dreams a reality. One of the challenges I found that people have when it comes to moving forward with their goals is having that consistent level of motivation, inspiration, mixed in with learning and how to's, and also kind of mixed in with community and support. And that's what the inner circle does. And so if you haven't checked out becoming a member of the inner circle, I encourage you to do so. It is one of those things that at a very low investment, $20 a month, you can gain so much information, so much education, so much motivation around taking charge and moving forward in those areas of your life that you are focused on. And so I'm excited that this resource is now available. When you become a member, you get immediate access to my Radical Library. And we are constantly adding content into that library. But right now, it has over 25 hours of keynotes and expert interviews and teachings. And one of the most popular resources right now for those who have become members are the replays from my Radical Success Intensive, the event that I did last month in the DC area. And it was so much valuable insights around your mindset and what you think and why you think and how you can deal with and manage barriers and challenges that come your way as you passionately pursue your next level of success. And so that replay in and of itself makes your membership worth it. So head on over to doreenrainey.com and click on Inner Circle and get all the details about becoming a member and getting that access to what you need to move forward. So today we are talking about silent dream killers. And whenever I find myself struggling to reach a goal or feeling stuck around reaching a goal or moving forward, I go back to this topic right here. Am I allowing something to steal my dreams, to steal my enthusiasm, to keep me from taking action, to prevent me from moving forward? And when I do that, I go back and I look at these three areas and I ask myself, are they showing up in my life in a way that is not serving me? So I want to start with the overarching dream killer. And this will not be new to you. I bet any amount of money you have heard this before. And maybe when you hear it now, you'll kind of scrunch your face up and ask yourself, well, what does this have to do with dream killing? But you will soon see. You will soon see. The overarching dream killer is simply you reap what you sow. Now, am I right? You have heard that before. And in many contexts, that phrase is used. And today we're talking about how it impacts your ability to not live out your dreams. And so when we talk about you reap what you sow, we're basically saying that eventually you will have to face up to the consequences of your actions. When we talk about reaping what you sow, it simply means you will at some point experience the consequence of your behaviors. You will undoubtedly see tangible results that are a direct reflection of the habits you have sown. And when it comes to our dreams and what could be killing them, we must be willing to examine what we are sowing when our dreams aren't happening. Now, before we look at 3 categories that fall under reaping what you sow around our dreams, I want you to first think about some dreams and goals that you have that haven't become your reality yet. When you look at what you want around your career or your business, and you have some specific goals that you set in those areas, and yet they have not materialized, I want you to think about what those are right now. When it comes to your finances or building wealth or your money, what are some goals that you have around that? What are some dreams that you've been visualizing or holding on to that have not become your reality yet? Have you had goals or dreams around being debt free, about increasing your income to 6 figures or 7 figures? Have you had some goals around building wealth, real estate investing, or stock market investing? Think about some of those goals that you've had. What about when it comes to your relationships? Have you had some goals in terms of how you want to act and interact with your friends and your family? Have you had some goals about the way that you communicate or share experiences? Or do you want to add to your circle of friends and be more social? What are some goals that you've had that haven't quite become real for you? Maybe there are some personal goals that you've had for a while. Maybe going back to school or something around your health and fitness. Maybe you've had some goals in terms of your own personal growth and personal development, your spiritual life. I want you to get as specific as you can. And I know you might be listening to this while you're driving or doing something else, but if you are stationary and you have the ability to open up your phone, your notes section, or grab some pen and paper, go ahead and just jot it down. Like, here are some of the career, business, money, personal goals that haven't become my reality yet. And I've been holding on to them for quite a while. Maybe some of these goals are months old or years old. And in many cases, when I talk to clients or do events and speak, and we talk about goals, some of these goals are decades old. Okay, you got them? You got those goals either kind of in your head or written down in front of you? Now we want to look at these goals and put them up against what could be the silent dream killers. And that way we can ask ourselves, is this dream killer playing a role in my inability to get what I want? And silent dream killers are underlying and consistent behaviors. It's our way of being that we may not have even recognized, or if we've recognized it, we may have miscalculated the impact it could have on our dreams. And so these are things that, maybe it's not something that you do or experience every single day, all day, but it happens enough that it has a real impact on your ability to receive more of what you really want in life. And I titled this Silent Dream Killer because those three words really describe what these three elements I'm going to share with you do. First of all, silent. That means that it's not a big noise maker. It's not top of mind. These are things that you may not have even related to being a dream killer. Like I said earlier, it's been moving in your life in stealth mode. And so we want to make this no longer a silent dream killer, but we want to call it out, put it on the carpet, and figure out how we're going to manage it, deal with it, eliminate it, work with it, whatever we need to do. And then the dream is what we want to experience as a result of our goals. That's why I said a dream killer and not a goal killer, right? The goal might be to build wealth, but the dream is to travel the world. The dream is to leave a legacy for your children and grandchildren, right? The goal might be to start a business or have a 7-figure business or have an 8-figure business. But the dream, oh my goodness, the dream is to build an organization where you have 100 employees or 50 employees and you're taking care of families and you're contributing to the community and you're able to be a philanthropist. Like, that's the dream. And so when we talk about a silent dream killer, we're not just killing a goal. We're cutting ourselves off from legacy. And so it is imperative that we take these dream killers seriously. And we are willing, as I always ask you to do in this podcast, to look yourself in the mirror, look yourself in the eye, and ask yourself the tough questions. And in this case, the question is, am I allowing any of these dream killers to stop me, to cut me off, to disconnect me from what my legacy could be? So looking at the concept of you reap what you sow, let's look at the first of these 3 dream killers that I want to share with you. The first one is integrity. How you show up when it comes to integrity determines if it's a silent dream killer. And I have come to realize that it is the little things that make the biggest difference in whether it serves us or whether it hinders us. And we all know what integrity is. We all know it's about honoring your word. It's about doing what's right, even when no one is looking. It's about being someone of character, being someone who is on the right side of what it means to be a contributing person to society, a contributing person to your family. And when it comes to your personal dreams and goals, you have to ask yourself, are you in integrity overall? Because if you're not, you're going to reap what you sow. And integrity is an overarching trait and characteristic. And so I'm not just talking about, are you in integrity when it comes to your career? Are you in integrity when it comes to your money? I'm talking about as a way of being. Remember, I said silent dream killers are underlying and consistent behaviors of the way that you be. And so when it comes to integrity, generally across the board, how do you be? And I think that there are several areas that we have to examine to see where we are when it comes to integrity. And I've had several experiences that really show me that people don't always understand what it means to be in integrity. And I also have to check myself periodically to make sure that I understand what it means to be integrity and to make sure that as much as I can maintain that level of integrity, I do. And so let me give you some examples. Let's start with social integrity. Are you a person that keeps your word socially? Do you show up on time when you say you're going to show up on time? Do you respect other people's time and make it a point not to waste their time because you don't show up on time? That's integrity. I've had events, socially, business events, and people don't show up on time. And we all know the concept of being fashionably late. And I'm not saying that you have to be a stickler for social events in the terms of parties and things like that, but there are certain social events where there's an expectation that you're going to show up at a certain time, mainly because you said you were going to show up at a certain time. And I've had to check myself on this over the years. And I've made a concentrated effort not to be disrespectful of other people by not showing up on time. And how does this really play out? Because a lot of times the underlying issue of not showing up on time is poor planning. It's poor planning. You're trying to jam too much in, or you're not allowing enough time to get things done. You convince yourself that you need half an hour to do something, but you really need an hour and a half. You convince yourself that it's only going to take you 10 minutes to get there, but you know that with traffic and things like that, it's really going to take you 25 minutes. And so when it comes to integrity from a social and a time perspective, it boils down to you're a poor planner. And if you're a poor planner, then when it comes to your goals and your dreams, you're poor planning around that as well. And so that is showing up in your lack of reaching your dreams. Let's talk about integrity when it comes to business. I am an entrepreneur. I'm a small business owner. And I have been fascinated, to say it politely, by people who come into a business agreement and don't honor their word, who come into a business agreement and don't do what it is they say they're going to do, what it is they agree to do. As you know, I'm in the coaching space. And as a coach, I offer programs and services and masterminds. And as someone in the coaching community, I know many other coaches who offer events and masterminds and coaching programs. And we are always fascinated at the number of people who don't honor their financial business commitment when it comes to what you said you would do. And a example of that, many of us offer payment plans for our coaching programs. And many of our clients, they sign the dotted line, they sign up, they agree to the coaching plan, the payment plan, and then they just decide they don't want to pay anymore. And not only do they decide they don't want to pay anymore, they decide they don't want to respond to emails and phone calls and follow ups. They decide they don't want to communicate anymore. And here's the deal: can a financial situation change inside of the time that you have given your word to make payments on something? Absolutely. But when it comes to integrity, how do you respond? Disappearing, not showing up, not responding to emails or follow up is a lack of integrity. And I will tell you, years and years and years and years ago in my business, I hired a coach and I agreed to a payment plan. And during that time in my business, I had all kinds of things happening professionally and personally, and it affected my revenue. And I had to do something about that payment structure. So what did I do? I went to the person, I went to the coach, and I said, look, this is the situation. What can we do? How can I adjust it? Can I adjust it? How can I work with it? And when people come to me as a client, I'm more than happy to have that conversation. The coach I went to have that conversation, she was more than amenable to rearranging things. The challenge is, how do you handle your business when it comes to integrity? And what's more interesting to me, for those of you who are entrepreneurs or want to be entrepreneurs, how you treat other business owners. You reap what you sow. Would you want your clients, would you want your customers to treat your business like you treat other businesses? And it's the same thing when you agree to do anything around business. When you agree to deliver a project, when you agree to a meeting, when you agree to be part of a team or do a part of a project, do you show up and do what it is you say you're going to do? Because this is a state of being, right? So when you are thinking about reaping what you sow, when you're thinking about what could be stopping you from getting to your dreams, why would you get the big dreams that you want, especially when it comes to your business, when you're out of integrity? So that's just an example around business. What about your own personal finances? When you talk about building wealth, or maybe you have some goals and dreams around getting out of debt, and you've learned that in order to get there, these are some things that you have to do. Maybe one of those things is create a budget. And you have taken the time to look at your income and look at your bills and look at what you owe, and you created this budget, and you see that if you stick to this budget, that you can get out of debt in 9 months. If you stick to this budget, you can get out of debt in a year and a half. If you stick to this budget, you can get out of debt in 5 years. And yet, a week after you make the budget, a month after you make the budget, 3 months after you make the budget, you're violating the budget you created to get you closer to your dream. You don't adhere to the budget. You make a decision that you're not going to honor the word that you gave yourself about your money. And now you're wondering why your dreams are not happening. And so the number one dream killer I'm talking to you today about is integrity. Check yourself. Ask yourself the tough questions. It's real easy to say that we are a person of integrity. And here's the deal: you don't necessarily get it right 100% of the time. I don't get it right 100% of the time. But I'm so aware of it, and I want to make you aware of it, that we can start getting it right 80% of the time, 90% of the time, 100% may be a stretch, but 99.9, maybe we can do that. So where are you out of integrity? And do you have to go back and correct some things when it comes to integrity? How can you be a better planner? How can you manage your time better? How can you be more respectful of other people's time? How can you be better in business? How can you show up fully, honoring your word, honoring your commitment when it comes to doing business and when it comes to having a business. It's the same for your finances. How can you be more honorable and in integrity with yourself around your money so that you can reach the financial goals that you have? And the list goes on when it comes to integrity. Think about integrity at your job if you work in the corporate world. Do you have integrity? Do you show up on time? Do you give them a full day's work? Or are you stealing money? You know, when people pay you a salary to do something and then you come to work and you don't do those things, you spend time on social media, you spend time scrolling through Facebook, you spend time talking on the phone, talking to your friends, texting all day, and you're not doing what they are paying you to do, you're stealing. You're stealing money from them. And the last time I checked, stealing was out of integrity. So check yourself. Be honest with yourself. Some of these areas you may be 100% or 99.9% on it, right? It's not an issue of integrity with you in certain areas. And then maybe in some areas it is. And so I'm encouraging you today to clean it up. I'm encouraging you today to get on the right side of integrity because we already know that you reap what you sow. And if you are not sowing integrity, it will kill your dreams. The second area I want to talk to you about when it comes to silent dream killers is beliefs. Now, you've heard me say this before that we don't get what we want, we get what we believe. And the truth is, no matter what you say or how often you say it, if you don't believe that it can be your reality, it won't come to fruition. So as much as you say, I want to be debt free, I'm going to get that promotion, I'm going to start that business, I'm going to write that book, and you continue to talk about it, and maybe even you take action on it, right? Maybe you start writing a few pages, maybe you look up a few things about self-publishing, maybe you research how to get a book agent. But if you don't honestly believe it in your soul, you will find a way to self-sabotage your dream. When we talk about the barriers, the challenges that keep us from getting where we want to be, many times these are self-inflicted sabotagers. And it's because we've allowed the sowing of doubt and fear and opinions of others that don't think that we can do it take root. And when it takes root, that becomes our belief. I don't know if this is going to happen. Oh, I'm too afraid. What if they say no? What if I get embarrassed? What if I get rejected? Well, she said I wasn't smart enough. He said no one would ever buy this from me. They said I can't do it. And we begin to internalize that. And then we begin to believe it. And what we believe is what we act on. And so maybe your dreams aren't being realized because deep down in your soul, you don't believe that you're worthy. You don't believe it's possible. You don't believe it can happen. You don't believe people will buy this from you. You don't believe you could get the promotion. You don't believe you can finish the degree. And it is stealing your dreams. And so if you're challenged with that belief, you have to reset your mindset DNA. You've got to be willing to explore why you think what you think, why you believe what you believe, where it came from, and then begin to incorporate new beliefs in a way that moves beyond head knowledge, like I believe I can do it, I can believe I can make it happen, like that's head knowledge, into soul belief. that you know, that you know, that you know, that no one could ever convince you of anything different, that this is for you. This dream, this goal, this lifestyle, this life, this legacy is for you. And one of the ways that you can do that, if belief is a dream killer for you, is I recommend watching the replays from the Radical Success Intensive. We did so much work around your mindset that it will fundamentally shift what you believe. And so if you want to access those replays, absolutely jump on over to the inner circle. But at a minimum, you can begin to think about, what do you really believe about money? What do you really believe about your business and being an entrepreneur? What do you really believe about your health and your wellness? You may say, oh man, my goal is to lose weight. My goal is to get off medication or not get on medication. But when you look around your family, maybe all you see is obesity. Maybe all you see is high blood pressure. Maybe all you see is diabetes. And subconsciously, right? We said these dream killers move in stealth mode. Subconsciously, you think you are destined. You believe you are destined to that same fate. And so it impacts what you literally do, your behaviors, what you eat, how you work out, how you take care of your body. And so we've got to become conscious of what our beliefs really and truly are. That is the number 2 dream killer, beliefs. And then finally, the third dream killer I want to talk to you about. Now, this one, I put this in here because it's just true. Sometimes we really want to go deep on what's holding us back. Integrity, that's deep. Beliefs, that's deep. This third one, I wouldn't necessarily call it deep, but it doesn't make it less true. The number 3 dream killer is laziness. Pure, unadulterated laziness. Sometimes it's not about digging deep to understand what our beliefs are and what our habits and behaviors are and how our integrity is playing a role in how we show up in the world. Sometimes we are just lazy. And we need to get up off of our butts and do what needs to be done. And laziness takes root many times because there's this belief that there's always tomorrow. I'll do this tomorrow. I'll make the phone call tomorrow. I'll go to the gym tomorrow. I'll inquire about going back to school tomorrow. Laziness is an indicator that you just think that time is not a commodity that's ever going to run out. When in fact, time is the only commodity that is non-negotiable. It will run out. There will come a day when there is no more time for us. And so if laziness is your challenge, get up, get out, start moving, start doing. Now, laziness may be a result of some fears, some beliefs, some doubts. Maybe you're putting things off because you're just afraid. Yes, that is true. But sometimes laziness is just, you have to get up. You have to do. And so even today, what is one thing that you can do that is going to move you closer to your dream? What is one thing that you can get up, get moving, get started on that's going to make that goal one step closer? I encourage you to take that action today. Like, don't turn on the television. Don't turn on the gaming system. Don't pull out your Candy Crush. Don't watch the movie. Like, do it. Do that thing today that gets you moving, that gets you in action. So I hope today's podcast has really got you thinking, has really got you examining yourself. This podcast is all about internal transformation for external results. And every time I get the opportunity to get on this mic and create an episode for you, I am going to challenge you to make the internal adjustments you need to make so that you can get where you want to be, do what you want to do, and have what you want to have. And so, as always, I want to hear from you. I want to know, how has this episode impacted you? What were your ahas? What were your takeaways? What did you realize about yourself having listened to this podcast? Absolutely leave a comment below and let me know. You can also connect with me on social media. On Instagram and Twitter, I am at Doreen Rainey. And also, if you're not a part of our Facebook group, please come over and join the fun. Our Facebook group is called the Radical Success Tribe. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, for listening. If you want to continually get mentoring and coaching and training and have access to my radical library of resources, don't hesitate. Go ahead right now, today, become a member of the Inner Circle. You can simply go to DoreenRainey.com, click on Inner Circle, and boom, you are seconds away from getting access to all of that content. Thank you guys so much. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. If this podcast is giving you life, is helping you move forward, please be sure to share with those in your family, your friends, and your community. Until next time, stay radical. Thanks for listening to the Radical Success Podcast. We would love to hear from you. Be sure to head over to iTunes and subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Until next time, stay radical.